Would like to hear thoughts, comments, or questions regarding, does this make sense? Does it sound too unrealistic?
How would you follow up if they're being really persistent? Like, they'll be like, well, still, like, you try.
So the question is, if they're being very persistent, they're at it, you got to negotiate. You got to non-negotiate these things. These are your value systems, right? So someone keeps asking you, I'm unavailable. The little bit of crack in the armor, people will double down on that. They're not bad people. They have their own insecurities. They have their own apprehensions. So like a skip level boss is being threatened by or pressured by their own boss. So they're spilling their bad behavior. They're spilling their trash on you. You have the choice to not accept it. As presumptuous as it might sound, right? You really have the choice. There was this other influencer who talks about, hey, I hate your ugly green hair or blue hair or whatever. And you'd be like, my hair is black or gray or whatever, mine's turning gray. You don't take offense to that, right? So when they are persistently asking for something, or when I ask Patricia, can you give me $10,000? If you don't have $10,000 to give, it's an impasse, right? Then we're struggling around the how do you go about saying no? So that's where consistency matters. You see a lot of people in corporate where they are consistently bad and they're like, oh, we know, Suraj is not going to come and show us how to do stuff. So they don't even go and ask that person anything. For good or for worse, just be consistent. And it's not easy. But the alternate is harder. Before we go to the third topic, I want to dip back into psychological safety and really double down on this concept, which completely opened my mind. And it's going to help you with the first two pillars, the psychological safety and the part of saying no. This was me before. I would be standing in line at a coffee shop and someone on their phone, they come and cut in line. And the old me, the people-pleasing person me, like I'm furious inside. And you can imagine all my other interactions, right? People coming and bulldozing me and saying that their method is better, or the movie that they saw was better than the one that I picked. Could be anything. Right? But here what I'm doing is just keeping it to myself. Am I being passive or aggressive? It's a leading question again, but am I being passive or aggressive? Passive. Anyone interested in demonstrating how an aggressive person would react to that situation? Anyone? Just for fun, just for kicks. Yeah, please. Yeah, come here and demonstrate it. Right? So you stand here, you're in line, there are three people in front, there's one person behind you, and then I'm going to be on my phone and I'm going to come. Yeah. Right? Yeah, you're going to be aggressive.
Yeah.
No one knows. What's your name, sir?
My name's Neil.
Neil.
Nice to meet you.
So Neil is not aggressive. He's just playing a role. So, all right.
Yeah.
All right. So you're in line, and then I'm like,
Hey, I was in line. Get to the back.
oh, okay. All right. No need to be so rude. All right. Round of applause for Neil, guys. So he is really, really nice because he could have been even more rude. For instance, are you blind? Can't you see? Like throw in some cuss words in there and get to the back of the line. That obviously is being aggressive, right? Okay. Based on what I described as passive and aggressive, can anyone describe to me the best way possible? What does it mean to be aggressive?
Be confrontational to not, I guess.
Be confrontational. That's one.
I would say like the tone. I think depending on how you say something, like if you say it with more conviction and a lot louder, like you're mad, if you're more sensitive.
Sure. How about passive aggressive? Tone's low, softer, slight backhanded compliment comes in. Anything else? Let me nudge. 10. I think the last part was the most important part of it all. Anyone wants to try it one more time, even if you've already spoken? When it comes to feelings, can you give a definition of aggressive? If you have to use the word feelings, how would you use to describe the word aggressive? Yes, please. Angry, what else? The actual word feelings, so use feelings in the sentence when you're describing aggressive. Okay. When you're aggressive, you care only about your own feelings and you disregard the other person's feelings. So this is where it becomes, when it's enigmatic, you're like, I don't know, but I felt some aggression from the other person, and it might not even be passive aggressive. So what they're doing is they're prioritizing their own feelings and disregarding the others. Now, what do you think I did when the person cut me and I'm not saying anything and I'm fuming inside? What am I doing? Anyone? I'm giving respect to the other person's feelings and disregarding my own. Okay, so we know what aggressive is, we know what passive is. Now tell me, what do you think is assertive? You're going to turn into the people in the matrix. You're going to see the matrix after you understand this part, because it helped me that well. Anyone? Go ahead.
Take a stab.
Yeah.
In the middle, where you're focusing on the feelings of both you and the other person.
Yeah, it's exactly that. So this is what I say. In the same sentence, not in two different sentences, in the same sentence, can you give and command respect? That is being assertive. I understand where you're coming from. This is important to me. So imagine how you can tie this back into the yes, no, yes technique. How you can bring it back into how you bathe in your own truth when it comes to psychological safety. The sense of being assertive. It's not being aggressive. It's not about only prioritizing your own and ignoring the others. And that's what I said in the last piece. It's about giving and commanding respect. And sometimes it's the other way around. You command and then give. But in the same sentence, you can actually have both. So when you write them down and practice it over and over again, you're able to have that. So same thing at work. Someone that I reported to, we had to provide trainings for global audiences, technical audiences. So these are more like businesses that supply products to other businesses, not end customers. And year after year, the number of trainings that we were publishing was going down. So in front of everyone, the question is, how do you improve it? And I'm thinking, all right, we had the same conversation in our one-on-one yesterday, but it was never brought up. Things can slip. So this is where I was thinking, what do I say to give and command respect? So while that statistics was true, that year on year, the number of publications were going down, the subscription rate went down. So it's about, we focused on increased subscription rate, and I know how much you value quality. So I'm commanding my respect and saying that you value this, and I know this is important to you. That allowed me to be assertive, not judgmental in all of that. Of course, it did not happen overnight. It was years of training, mentors, me writing things down. So whenever you think about yes, no, yes, whenever you think about psychological safety, always think about how can you attain what you want without sacrificing either you or the other person. Thoughts, comments, or questions so far? No? All right, we're going to go to the third and last part, and then we have time to open up the Q&A. Yes, there's no typo there. It's head, shoulder, knees, and toes. Have you guys heard of head, shoulder, knees, and toes? All right. Would it be awkward if I had everyone stand up, please, if you don't mind? You knew this was coming. By now, you knew this was coming. All right, so we're all going to do this together. I'm not going to bother you to sing with me, but I'm going to go ahead and sing it. So, head, shoulder, knees, and toes, knees, and toes. Head, shoulder, knees, and toes, knees, and toes. So now you're going to remember what I'm going to teach you in the third and final act. So please have a seat. Thank you so much. Give yourself an applause. By the way, this is the first time I've had people do this live in person. So thank you so much. You guys are sweethearts. Thank you so much. All right. So head, shoulder, knees, and toes is actually a very, very important item. And there's a lot of precision. And because of what you're going to remember from today, you're not going to forget the sequence. Remember I said we have 2 eyes and 2 ears? So that's on our head. It allows us to observe more. The only reason why your mouth can be of advantage here is you can ask more questions to increase what you observe. So even if someone comes and says, hey, do you know this one game that we were playing the other day? You know exactly what they're talking about. Q. Use this opportunity, because you know the answer, to practice your question asking skills and focus on the head in head, shoulder, knees, and toes. So I'm going to observe more. More often than not, I've always found out that my team or people that I work with knew more than I did. I know that I'm smart and I'm able to do stuff technically from a marketing perspective, business perspective, what have you. But I've learned this thing, the more I use my head, the more I observe, the more smarter I get. So I'm going to ask some questions. So in any situation that you come across, you're going to ask questions as much as possible, even if you know the answer, because that's even better for you to litmus test your art of asking questions. So that is head. Questions, thoughts, comments? I'll catch you later. Number 2, shoulders. Figuratively or metaphorically speaking, what do we carry on our shoulders? Anybody? We carry weight. What feels like a weight that we carry on our shoulders? We carry our problems. We carry our problems on our shoulders. So one is head, you're observing as much as possible, and next is problems. You're trying to identify what the problem is. And you might have come across this, but I have. A problem well defined is a problem half solved, right? We jump, as soon as we observe something, and especially as engineers, and I believe every one of you guys going to school here are engineers or working are engineers, we are trained to be a hammer to a nail when we see a problem. So we jump straight to the solution, which, spoiler alert, is the toes. So I don't want you to jump and short circuit for you EE majors to get to the solution. I want you to double down on defining the problem. And I'll reveal why that is the case. It's a very important reason why. People are not necessarily aware of what problem they're solving for. A lot of time and energy gets wasted on that. So you're going to spend a lot of time on the shoulders trying to identify and define the problem. So when you're meeting up with your colleague on a school project, you're meeting a colleague in terms of the next product that's going to get released, the next milestone. People come with problems. You always have to identify what the real problem is. Customers come and then they ask, they demand, I want the software release to happen not in December, but I want it in September. What's the problem with coming in December versus September, right? People usually, they know they have this urge to ask because they're going through something, so they have the right to ask. Problems. Needs. So needs sounds like needs, N-E-E-D-S. My customer is going to come and ask me that they want software released 3 months sooner. They want it. They don't need it. Whether it be personal relationships, whether it be professional, distinguishing between wants and needs is going to be your superpower. Because what the customer actually wanted was a reliable software suite, so when they use it and build their product, they can consume all the testing time and all of that and go out. So I'm like, okay, you need something that won't break your tests. Got it. That's not, so you want it to come sooner, what you need is something else. Let me check with the engineering team if I can pull this in, and if we are able to test it for you. You don't need it to come sooner. Distinguish between wants and needs. My kids want candy, but they need to brush their teeth, right? So needs, even if it's personal, with your mom, with your dad, I've used this. Head, shoulder, knees, and toes. And the last thing, toes, is where you walk around and get your solutions. So that's the symbol for toes, to get your solution. Then you have a better idea. In my observation, 90% of the time, you don't even need a solution. Earlier, we were talking about active listening. Momentarily, hands were raised. A few people said, what is active listening? When you ask questions because you want to focus on head more, when you describe the problem, you make them feel heard, you talk about what their needs and wants are, a lot of the time, the problem and the issue dissolves on its own, and the solution is not even needed. And even if you do need a solution, you have done everything systematically that you have one of the more better opportunities to solve things. So when you face someone that you don't like or is hurting you, or if you have problems at work or at home, create psychological safety. Say a clear no with a yes, no, yes. Head, shoulder, knees, and toes to get you to the finish line. And with that, any thoughts, comments, questions, applause, all welcome right now. You guys have been too kind with questions. Later, I'll catch you later. Questions? So your question was, if I say I'm sorry and then you continue, is that being assertive? That is going to be passive. But I do have a solution for you if you don't mind. Okay, so I'm not following my head, shoulder, knees, and toes because this is the classical example that I talk in the second half. Again, we're going to go back to the coffee shop. Okay. What's your name, sir? Andrew? Okay. Andrew, you're at the coffee shop. Okay. I decided that I'm going to meet you there at 5:30. You're there. It's 5:45. I haven't showed up yet. 5:47. I walk in. One way I can address Andrew is, Andrew, I'm sorry I'm late. Or, hey, Andrew, thanks for waiting. So in both cases, the same things happen, meaning, Andrew is here, I'm here. Andrew, I'm sorry, I'm putting myself down. Thank you for waiting, Andrew, I'm putting you up. So I'm still creating the delta to demonstrate respect. Now in this case, it's okay not to say sorry, but there are many instances where sorry is needed, it's necessary. Not everywhere. So in this particular case, thank you for waiting. It was important for me to close this item with whoever, with Ben, and then I had to come and see you. Does that help? There are many instances when I would genuinely not do things that leads to something that leads to harm. For example, I have to be here at a certain time to come and talk. If I don't sleep at night at a decent time, I'm not going to wake up. I had to take my kid to the swim class in the morning as well. I had to fill in gas along the way. I could have waited, okay, not right now, I could do it later. Or maybe do it along the way, and then something happens. Or I can anticipate, okay, my talk's at 1 o'clock. Let me try to be here by 10. So I can also see the keynote speaker. If I'm not lining things up to creating myself to be successful, if I fall short on that, absolutely, regardless of the situation, I come and meet you. Sorry, Andrew, I did not plan well, I'm late. Even for that scenario. And then there are even more important things in life where you can't feel sorry, but you can throw it around like pocket change. Any other thoughts, comments, or questions? Or if we have more time, I have more content that I can also cover. Or are we going to the next session? Okay, cool. This was awesome, guys. I don't know how it really landed, but I had a great time, and I applaud all of you for investing in yourself. This is phenomenal. Thank you so much for having me here.